Finally, let's talk about what's worked and what hasn't worked in crisis management in the U.S. Here are a few examples specifically addressing that point. Johnson & Johnson, the healthcare giant, provided the textbook example of a planned crisis management done right. People in Chicago in 1982 died because of arsenic in their product Tylenol. The company launched a massive response. It sent out advertising, 500,000 messages to facilities and stakeholders. It issued security warnings. It finally figured out that it hadn't been responsible for the toxic substance, but it didn't try to hide any of the risks. It championed tamper-proof packaging, and it also made clear it was supporting greater security for pharmaceuticals. The lesson in all this is that companies still use Johnson & Johnson's approach: transparency, integrity, communication, and managing crises today. 6 years ago, the American drink maker Pepsi-Cola experienced a crisis itself that needed prompt action. In 2017, Pepsi launched a campaign with a TV star, Kendall Jenner. The star's advertising video became instantly controversial, putting Pepsi in the middle of a heated social debate. The backlash was fierce, but thanks to crisis management planning, so was Pepsi's response. In less than 24 hours, they pulled the ad campaign. They emphasized that it was off the mark. They wanted to produce a campaign that promoted understanding, and they failed. They apologized. The lesson: being straightforward, being prompt, being prepared. The company showed empathy, took immediate action, helped to minimize the risk of permanent damage to its brand and its reputation. It succeeded in stemming the problem. Southwest Airlines, another example, a major air carrier, experienced an unprecedented disruption in its services in 2021, and it had a plan that worked well. Like others in its industry, the pandemic hit Southwest hard. That October, weather compounded its problems. Mass flight cancellations stranded tens of thousands of customers. Hit by negative publicity, the airline was immediately transparent. Southwest swiftly apologized for the delays and cancellations, explained staffing shortages, weather, air traffic control problems that affected its service, and directed passengers right away to contact them for assistance. What's the lesson? Communicating quickly and clearly about what is happening and where customers could go for help reflected Southwest's planning for contingencies and emergencies. Well, what about companies that have faced a crisis, including those with plans, and failed to meet the challenge? The lesson here is not a surprise. What you learn is the same as what we've learned from success. United Airlines badly mishandled relations with passengers, creating a public relations crisis that had major impact on its business. In 2017, United was swamped by negative social media and publicity after it barred 2 teenage passengers from boarding a flight because of their dress, and on another flight a few days later, forcefully removed a passenger. The airline CEO defended the action, but didn't apologize, didn't explain. The consequences for United were significant. On Wall Street, the airline lost some $800 million in market value, and the brand suffered major damage in public surveys. The lesson: the failure to have or use a plan to guide the response wasn't just a temporary public relations problem. It had a major effect on a company's reputation and value. Consider Amazon's failed response to a natural disaster, not a public relations problem. In December of 2021, deadly tornadoes ripped through parts of Kentucky, Illinois, and Tennessee. As the death toll climbed in these states, Amazon, the country's leading online marketplace, quickly came under scrutiny for their handling of the emergency. Amazon compelled their drivers to work during the tornado or face termination. 6 workers at one of their Illinois warehouses also died when a tornado destroyed the facility. Amazon said the employees were not in the warehouse assembly area to be protected. Companies that fail to anticipate crises such as possible natural disasters and plan their responses face serious legal liabilities. The company's actions and loss of life prompted federal investigations. The lesson? Natural disasters like hurricanes, earthquakes, and tornadoes can't always be predicted, but they can be anticipated. The Amazon case made clear that companies exposed to extreme weather need a comprehensive emergency response and crisis management plan. Lessons from these experiences are consistent in one respect. Crisis can take many forms. A company needs to prepare to handle a variety of situations. Thinking through the risks, identifying how to deal with them, and preparing plans for your team to respond are critical steps. So is exercising your plan to make sure it's understood and can work. I hope these lessons from the American experience are helpful in your thinking, and I look forward to providing information and insights in the future. Farewell for now from the United States.